I was 10 years old when my father taught me something strange. If you ever see someone standing in a cornfield after dark, don't wave back. That was it. No explanation, no scary story. He just said it the way parents tell you not to touch a hot stove. I laughed because we lived in Iowa. There were cornfields everywhere, and people walked through them all the time. I forgot about it until the summer I turned 17. That year, the drought killed half the crops in our county. The corn grew in patches. Some fields looked dead, while others grew impossibly tall. One field in particular became famous, Old Man Grady's field. The corn there reached almost 12 feet. People started driving by just to look at it. It didn't make sense. Everything around it was dry and dying, but his field looked almost black in color, thick and healthy. Then Grady disappeared. His truck was found parked beside the road. His dog was still inside. The engine was running, but Grady himself was gone. Nobody thought much of it. Old people disappear sometimes. Heart attack, stroke. Maybe he wandered off. Then his wife disappeared. Then his son. 3 people from one family. Gone within 6 days. The sheriff organized search parties. Everyone searched the woods, the creek, the old barns. Nobody searched the cornfield. I don't know why. I think nobody wanted to. 3 weeks later, I was driving home from work around midnight. I took the back road. As I passed Grady's property, I saw someone standing in the field, about 20 feet from the road, completely still. I slowed down. It was an old man, overalls, straw hat, thin shoulders. I thought it was Grady. For 1 second, I actually thought they had found him. Then he raised his hand and waved. I almost waved back. Then I remembered my father. Don't wave back. A weird chill ran through me. I drove away. When I got home, my dad was sitting on the porch. I don't know why I told him. I just did. I think I saw Grady. The cigarette slipped from his fingers. He looked terrified. Did he wave? I nodded. Did you wave back? No. He stood up immediately. Get inside. I had never seen my father scared before. He locked every door, closed every curtain. Then he sat at the kitchen table. For a long time he said nothing. Finally he spoke. When I was 13, my brother waved back. I remember feeling cold. I had never heard my father mention a brother. He was standing in a field after dark. Somebody waved. He waved back. What happened? He came home. I frowned. What do you mean? He came home, but he wasn't my brother anymore. My father stared at the table. He looked right, sounded right, remembered everything, but my mother knew immediately. How? Because he didn't blink. I laughed nervously. Dad didn't. He stayed awake every night, stood in the backyard staring at the corn, didn't eat much, didn't smile, and every few days we'd find dirt in his bed. I wasn't laughing anymore. What happened to him? My father looked at me. He walked into a field one night, and something else walked out. I couldn't sleep. Around 3 in the morning, I heard my dog growling, then barking, then whining. I looked out my bedroom window. Our backyard ended at another cornfield. Something was standing there. A person at the edge of the stalks, waving. I couldn't see its face, just its arm moving slowly, back and forth, back and forth. I shut the curtain. The next morning, there were footprints in our yard, bare footprints. The soil was dry, but the prints were muddy. They stopped directly beneath my window. That night, it came back, and this time there were 2 of them, a man and a woman, standing beside each other, both waving. I told my father. He looked sick. Don't look at them again. What are they? I don't know. You have to know something. He thought for a moment. My grandfather called them the waving people. Who are they? I don't think they're people. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wanted to look. I don't know why. Curiosity maybe. Or maybe something else. At midnight I opened the curtain. 4 figures. Now there were 4. Standing farther into the field, waving. I noticed something strange. They were all facing my house, but their arms moved at exactly the same speed, perfectly synchronized, like one thing controlling 4 bodies. I closed the curtain. I didn't sleep. By morning there were 8 footprints beneath my window. Not 4, 8. That evening, my father nailed plywood over my bedroom windows. I got angry. We argued. I said he was acting insane. He slapped me. The first and only time he ever hit me. Then he hugged me, and I realized he was shaking. They only need 1 wave. I didn't understand. He refused to explain. Around sunset, someone knocked on our front door. A woman stood outside. I recognized her. Mrs. Grady. She disappeared weeks ago. She looked dirty. Her hair was full of leaves, but she was smiling. Can I come in? Dad froze. She looked at me. I've been lost. Dad whispered, don't open it. She kept smiling. I found my family. Silence. Then she said something that still makes me sick. They're all here now. I looked toward the cornfield and realized hundreds of stalks were moving. Not from wind. Something inside them was shifting. Thousands of tiny movements. Mrs. Grady smiled wider. You should wave. Dad slammed the door. We heard her laughing outside, then silence. The next morning she was gone. That evening our dog disappeared. We found him the next day, standing in the field, alive. He wouldn't come when called, wouldn't move, wouldn't blink. Dad shot him. I threw up. He cried while burying him. That night I heard scratching under my bed. I looked. Nothing. Then I noticed dirt on my floor. Wet dirt, leading toward my closet. I opened it. Nothing. But there was more dirt, piled in the corner. I slept with the lights on. The next day Dad was packing. We're leaving. We threw clothes into the truck. As we drove away, I looked toward the field. I wish I hadn't. There were dozens of people standing among the corn. Old people, children, men, women, all waving. Then I saw someone else, my father, standing in the field, waving. I looked beside me. My dad was driving. I looked back. The thing in the field was still there, wearing my father's clothes, smiling, waving. I screamed. Dad didn't even turn around. He just pressed the gas harder. We moved 3 states away, never spoke about it again. Years passed. I got older, went to college, got married, had a daughter. I convinced myself none of it had been real. Until last month. My father died. Heart attack. I flew home for the funeral. After everyone left, I stayed alone in his house. I couldn't sleep, so I searched through his things. In the attic, I found an old cardboard box. Inside were photographs, hundreds of them. Every picture showed cornfields, different states, different years. Then I found one picture that made me stop breathing. It was old and faded, maybe from the 70s. In the photograph stood a young man, thin, dark hair, no expression. I recognized him immediately. It was my father, standing in a cornfield. Beside him was another person, someone who looked exactly like him. 2 identical versions of my father. On the back of the picture was a handwritten note. One of them came back. We don't know which. I couldn't breathe. Then I found another note, folded inside the box. It was addressed to me. If you're reading this, I'm dead. Listen carefully. I never had a brother. I made that part up because I couldn't tell you the truth. When I was 13, I waved back. I came home, and another boy came home with me. One of us was real, one wasn't. My parents never knew which. Neither did I. I stared at the paper. There was more. For years I kept watching the fields, because I needed to know. The other boy never came looking for me. Until recently. I've seen him again, standing in the corn, waving, and he's old now. Exactly my age. I think only one of us is allowed to die. I think that's why they're called the waving people. I think they make copies and wait. I think when one dies, the other takes its place. I dropped the note. My hands were shaking. Then I heard something outside. Soft, rhythmic, tap, tap, tap. I walked to the window. The backyard was dark. Then I saw him, my father, standing near the fence, waving. I stared at him. He smiled. Then another figure stepped beside him. Also my father. Then another and another. All of them waving. I don't know how long I stood there, minutes, maybe hours, because the next thing I remember was sunlight and mud on my hands. I was standing in my backyard, right in front of them, close enough to touch. I don't remember opening the door. I don't remember walking outside. All 4 smiled. Then slowly, they stopped waving and raised their hands toward me, waiting, like they expected me to do the same. I looked down. My right hand was already lifted halfway into the air.